sister, you don't have a list of non-negotiables. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? If you have time, sit by yourself, get a notebook, grab a pen, and make your list of non-negotiables. Because you will be adding to the list as your life goes on. Islam tells you don't do this, don't do that, and sometimes you don't understand it. I'm going to tell you a story about one time like I understood why in that 1 second, and this is regarding to lowering your gaze, right? So I would hear, oh yeah, lower your gaze so many times, right? And we were in university. I think we were doing a Discover Islam week. We were doing a stall for people to come and ask questions about Islam, and alhamdulillah, I think throughout my university my interaction with the opposite gender was very like limited and like barriered. I don't know how you say it. There was barriers there, but I guess in this project there was someone in my cohort. I didn't know he was in my cohort actually, so when he came up he was like, oh, are you doing law, blah blah blah. The conversation started, so it was very like purposeful. It was just like, oh, are you doing law? And then he asked about a certain module, right? So the conversation isn't the key part here. It was when he was speaking to me, he was looking at the floor, and it took me like a minute or two to register what's going on, because I was like, oh, like it never occurred to me that he's shy, because he didn't seem like a shy guy, but he was just looking at the floor. And in my head I'm like, I'm so confused because nothing has clicked in my head yet. And then after a minute I'm like, oh, he's lowering his gaze. And I was just shook, because I was like, okay, like you hear this, but to see it in person and for someone to actually be doing it, I was like, rah. So it just like, it blew my mind. And then at the same time, it allowed me to see why Allah put that in place, because it's like, it's so easy for us to be like, oh yeah, lower your gaze because you shouldn't be looking at women. But I saw a whole new perspective to that. Me, I'm not a big eye contact girly. When it came to teachers, I would literally be terrified. Like I wouldn't look at teachers in the eye. So to maintain eye contact for me was never a thing. Okay, even when I'm talking to you, I'm looking around if I don't know you. So I was like, what if part of telling people to lower their gaze is to make that other person feel more comfortable or confident? I was like, this would get the feminists mad, because it's like, I felt empowered that he was looking down to speak to me. And this isn't like any power aspect, but it just like, it made me feel more comfortable and confident, and I could like speak to you straight without having to like look away or like go like this. It's just a small thing, but in my head I was like shook. I was like, what? So yeah, girlies, that's the importance of making lists. And make lists, make your non-negotiable list, and write down things that you want to become, because don't expect to be with someone who has certain characteristics that you don't, right? You don't want him to have female friends, yet you have male friends. It's all onward looking, and obviously you're not perfect, but these, by writing them down, these are the goals that we aim to go towards, right? And maybe inshallah by the time you do get married and you find the right person, you've become that person that you wrote down that you wanted to be. So yeah, so same thing goes with outfits. I don't know, you want a person that can dress. You also have that same standard for yourself, and like the way you dress attracts a certain type of person as well. The way you talk, the speech that you use, the language that you use, you can't expect to have someone who doesn't swear at all, then you're saying cuss words every now and then. Do you get it? So what I would say is like, be the person you want to marry. That's it. And you want to marry a Hafiz, and always like aim for the stars, mashallah. Like, you want to marry a Hafiz, I'm not saying you're going to be a Hafiz tomorrow, but start your Quran journey. start getting closer with Allah, you want someone who loves Allah and is loved by Allah, you also become that person who's loved by Allah and loves Allah. Guys, oh my god, I actually have goosebumps because this is like first and foremostly for myself. But yeah, you want a kind, soft-spoken person that treats you amazing. You be that kind, soft-spoken person that treats everyone amazing, that is so positive that when you walk into the room, you just bring nur and light and positivity with you. And like, where you want someone where you look at, when you look at him, he reminds you of Allah. Be that person to your friends, to your family, that when they look at you, they're reminded of Allah through you. And I love how in Islam it's such a community religion, because it's like love for your brother what you love for yourself. Or if you make dua for another person, the angels will make dua for you. Like, you win when you're benefiting others. I'm gonna cry. So yeah, so I think just like us striving to become better people is like a sign that Allah loves us. And always pray to become a better person, guys. I think one thing I did since I was younger, even before like I understood what Islam was or what I was doing at all, I would always just pray to have a clean heart, a qalbun salim. Yes, just have a pure heart. Like, hatred, that's not your cup of tea. Once I realized that having hate or any negative feelings towards someone was only gonna damage myself, then for my own sake I had to let that go. Right? Take the other person out of the equation, guys. When it comes to forgiveness, or someone did something wrong to you, let them. Because at the end of the day, you only seek it from Allah. Okay, I think what really shifted in my mindset was in 2020. Obviously lockdown gathered a lot of thoughts, but the George Floyd incident. So when he died and we saw the uproar, in my head what I thought was like, wow, justice in this earth isn't possible, right? Because what is true justice? True justice is not if the person who killed George Floyd gets life sentence or gets sentenced to death or gets like whatever it may be. That's not justice. True justice, equal would be that George Floyd would be able to come back. Would that not be right? So once I realized that true justice is impossible, then we can only seek justice with Allah, because Allah is the most just. Okay, so when you just like leave this dunya and you realize that there's so much bad things happening, especially now with people in Gaza, may Allah make it easy for them. There's just so much bad things happening in the dunya right now, and there will never be justice. So you can never have, and instead of like taking those incidents to make you feel bad about how bad the world is and stuff, put it in your heart and increase your sense of iman to show that you were never looking for perfection, or like you can't expect anything from this dunya, because you can only expect things from Allah. Allah is the most just. So he created the day of judgment for a reason, and there's gonna be a reason why everyone, no matter how bad they are on this earth, they will be held to account on the day that is the most just. So just know that like whatever you've lost in this world, you've not really lost anything when you're with Allah and when your reward is with Allah. So when you're looking at forgiveness, right, for me, one thing that I do is I think, who am I not to forgive this person when I too am a sinner, and on the day of judgment imagine me forgiving this person and Allah says, I forgive you because I am more forgiving than you are. Like, who are we? Okay? And like, we know that that person will be dealt with Allah on the Day of Judgment. So if your intentions are clean and you do what you can, obviously tie your camel. I'm not telling you to get trampled on, but just like have comfort knowing that nothing you do on this earth, no hatred, revenge, or like dirty looks that you give at someone that you don't like anymore, none of that is gonna do anything for you. And when you seek your reward with Allah on the Day of Judgment, that is when you'll truly be happy. That's when you'll truly be compensated for. Okay, so I've kind of I think I've just turned this video into, I guess, kind of a rant. But guys, if someone wrongs you, you know, when the white people said kill them with kindness, they knew what they were saying. Because if someone wrongs you and your response to them is, may Allah make it easy for you, may Allah increase you, and may Allah forgive you for whatever you're doing. One, that's taking the hatred out of your heart. That's making you feel better, because if you were to do the opposite, you would also still feel worse. Don't think that gets it off your chest for you. And just imagine how, like, Allah, how proud Allah would be of you to be able to do that. And He's gonna say, look at my servant, like, I've tested them with this one thing or this one person, and instead they're giving them love and they're making dua for them. Oh, what if He says increase them, increase them, increase them, you know? Like, at the end of the day, just it's you and Allah, and then that other person, right? Listening to the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ really helped that, because it's like he was around people who hated him, and later on became Muslim, and like, how do you deal with that? So yeah, guys, kill them with kindness. And yeah, never stoop to their level. Because you stooping to their level is a product of arrogance, saying, oh, you think you can do that, I can do that too, or I can do that worse. That's arrogance, because you're saying, who do you think I am? Like, who do you know who you're messing with, basically? And for me, arrogance is the source of all evil. Arrogance is what made Shaitan not prostrate to Adam alayhi salam. Anything evil you see, it has a hint of arrogance into it. And we're even told that anyone with a hint of arrogance will not be let into Jannah. So humble yourself, basically. Humble yourself in front of your Lord. And yeah. And it's so beautiful, because we're also told to give 70 excuses, guys. There should be no reason that you're backbiting anyway, but to give someone 70 excuses, like, we're so quick to blame someone or get angry at someone for something. But if your religion tells you, hey, give that person 70 excuses, once you got to the 69th excuse, right, you're probably not angry anymore. Do you get it?